Yeah, thanks, Chris.
Sorry, I just thought something a little bit different. Why don't we just drop Jen in and see?
Yeah, I could have been feeding my face then.
That's what we were counting on. I thought I could bring everyone in, or I could just drop Jen in and see what happens. And it's the look on your face was kind of like confusion and.
Because I nearly choked on a bit of carrot just before. It was just lucky I wasn't.
Yes. So we were talking beforehand, just in case anyone wants to know. Jenny's going down the footlong as we speak.
A sub.
From Subway, get your minds out of the gutter. All of you, get your minds out of the gutter. So welcome to Friday Night Six Pack, the funnest place on the internet on a Friday night or a Friday morning for those of you on the funny side of the world. Wherever
if anyone wants to know what the sub is, it's a footlong chicken teriyaki.
Good choice. Good choice.
Yeah.
Good choice.
It's so still zero.
Wherever you join us, whether it's on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever else we find ourselves, thank you for joining us.
So
and, good to see you all. So Jay is running late because of that work thing again. So I don't know. I think he should quit his job. Look, I'm just going to say the audience has spoken.
It's just me.
Jen's show. So
if you'd warned me about it, I could have taken it over and just gone with it. But hey, well, you see, tonight on Jen's show, we're going to be talking about the benefits of buying takeaway when your pork chops, after you defrost them, are actually off and they have to be fed to the dog.
The fun things that happen. I did have a bit of a plan for tonight. Originally, it was going to be a bit of a celebration of all things Australian. However, Ed's Vegemite hasn't arrived, so we can't watch Ed eat Vegemite live on stream. So that's a bit of a shame. But Manda's arrived, so that was good. That's Manda's stuff.
Amanda.
So she's been enjoying. Okay. Apparently, she's telling me that she's loving Milo. So.
Milo is God's drink. If there was a God,
you know what? It's that I think Milo is the one thing that would convert me to see.
If you could prove me that a deity made it,
I'd
have to believe in that deity.
I'd be more asking for evidence that a deity didn't make it. I mean, it's like the nectar of the gods.
It is.
It's some damn good stuff. Anyway, it's. Whether it was the Australian Postal Service or the American Postal Service, it didn't arrive, so we can't do the celebration of Australia. So we're just going to kind of do a bit of a hangout and probably poke some fun at someone who's trying to debate history with me on. Okay, so, and I don't know why I do this to myself, but in a Facebook group, and someone makes a comment about history, and it's when people do bad history, it's just. I have to say something. So rather than actually have a conversation with me, their method of responding is to post wonderful things like this. This is how they're debating Christianity, by putting up some image that some pastor somewhere has put together with history that's really wrong and not right. So it's just like, it's contemporaries to Jesus. Okay, so one of the things, there was no contemporary evidence of Jesus. There was absolutely nothing outside the Gospels that even talk about there being a living Jesus up until about 65 years after he would have died. But
you might have to ship Manda some more Milo. Apparently, Angel stole a little.
Yep. She did mention that, which is pretty typical. Teenagers love Milo. They smash the stuff.
Did he steal all the Tim Tams too, Amanda? Because I would have been pissed if that had happened.
It is what it is. It's all fun. So I'm checking something in the private chat as well. But yeah, so this is the kind of thing I've been dealing with, and me being me. I can't help myself. So this is what I've been arguing, but I couldn't help myself. I had a look at this Grant Jeffrey, his history website. So I'm going to throw in, because I really want to show everyone the kind of brilliant historian and all-round person as Grant Jeffrey is, because I mean,
Oh, yeah.
when you see wonderful evidence, it should be really brought up. So here we go. Here's prophecy study Bibles. One Nation Under Attack. That looks like how big government liberals are destroying the America you love. So I'm thinking he's he seems like a reasonable fellow. The global warming deception. See, we knew it. See, Mandy, you've been busted. The global warming.
Oh, you should be in here, Amanda. You should be busting this right now.
Shadow government, countdown to the apocalypse, and the new Second Temple is coming. So this is obviously someone who is very, very stable.
This is a person with a very tight neural network, as in not very large.
Yeah, and it's someone who, I mean, if I'm thinking, rather than go to scholarly sources for my next paper, I'm probably just going to quote his website. When I'll just for my footnotes, I'll just put one. The Bible says so.
So do you think he's somebody worth deifying? Sorry, flashbacks to this morning.
Okay, so what I will say is that conversation we had. So anyone who missed it, over on Jen's channel, we'll chuck the link in as well. But there was
now I have to go and grab it.
No, I've already got it. Don't worry.
You already got it. Okay.
Yeah, of course. It was probably one of the best conversations that I've had in a long time. It was just a really, really.
It was good.
It was a diverse group. I mean, we had Jen and some bloke that Jen met on the internet that she talks about a bit. Happened to be in there. I think is it like a boyfriend or something? I don't know. Have you got a boyfriend? Yeah. You think you be. For anyone who doesn't know, Jen has a boyfriend. Just in case no one knew. Steve McRae was in there, so we had an agnostic. S.J. Thomason, so a Christian, and Sam Chaos, who is a polytheist.
Yeah, polytheist.
And myself, the out and avowing atheist. And it was on whether atheist leaders are being deified, and I think I might have surprised everyone with what
you did a little, actually. You even surprised me with your position. Yeah.
So it's I think people thought that I'd be the one who'd go on the attack after him, but go and check it out. But I've got to say, it was just one of the coolest conversations I've had in a long time.
It really was, and it showed the naysayers who before, because when I'd advertised it, there had been a few people who'd come concerned that I was platforming SJ and Steve McRae, and that it would turn into a dumpster fire, and the chat wouldn't be any good. And yet there was only a little bit of abuse in the chat, and we said right from the start, any abuse in the chat and you're timed out. That's it. There is no tolerance here. There is a zero tolerance for abuse. And our discussion will be exactly the same. There is no abuse. And it was just brilliant.
Incidentally, Manda,
that was hilarious.
Did you hear what Ted Cruz said about how Biden cares more about people in Paris than Americans? Because that is
like the Accord is about Paris.
Hey, that guy was almost your president.
God, man! Don't you find that
America's just like a big reality show, and it gets wackier and wackier every week. Hey, Americans, you keep electing these idiots. We keep laughing at them. So thank you. Keep them coming. There's some good ones. So I like the one that's walking around with a gun.
I mean, Biden stood by what he said he would do. He's rolling back a lot of Trump's really, really bad proposals. He's done a lot of work really quickly to turn things over. So
that's pretty typical of a new administration coming in. Yeah, he would have had everything ready to go, signed it all.
Well, you have to go back to. Yeah, you have to go back 50 years or so before there's been a president who's done as much in such a short space of time.
Yeah, probably.
In the US. Yeah. So that's impressive. Reagan was the last one who did a lot in the early terms. So even the other Democratic leaders hadn't done this. It's Biden trying to fix shit, basically.
Anyway,
but then again, there's a lot of shit to fix. But that's not what we're here for.
No, that's our politics.
That's the politics of the week.
We all know that it's a big conspiracy because our friend Grant Jeffrey from Grant Jeffrey Ministries has told us so.
Well, one last thing before we get off of politics. One thing I do like, Joe Biden is not afraid to fire somebody's ass quick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, neither was Trump. He was famous for it.
Yeah, well, eh, Joe
Wouldn't it
is
have been nice if Trump had said, "I'm fired"?
yeah. Yeah, Biden
He looked in the mirror.
tried to give a couple of people a chance to resign. You know, he's given them that option, and they're like, "Oh, that's unprecedented. I'm not going to do that." And he's like, "Okay, fine. You're fired. Pack up your stuff and get out of my building."
Now, for those wondering where Jen's gone, she is munching down on her footlong as we speak. She's chewing away. We can all hear her chewing and giggling. So that's good. That's good. That's good. Yeah. So
You want me to mute as well?
No, that's too entertaining, Jen.
It is. It is, and you all know it's beautiful because I'm going to go. Oh, this is nice.
It's just a typical day with Jen. So hi to everyone who's in the chat. So it's good to see a lot of people. Hey, Jay's there. Yeah, Jay, where are you, mate? We miss you. Not really. I don't know. Do we miss him?
A little bit.
He's okay.
Well, Jay's not here. I thought he was already here. I mean, he's always pretty quiet.
You wouldn't know. I mean, with
you
Jay,
wouldn't know, to be honest.
It can be hit and miss. You know, it's a bit of fun. Good to see you. Good old Scummer is there in the chat. Good to see you, mate. I've actually just sent you a message on Twitter, but I don't think you have seen it, my good friend. So yeah, just check Twitter whenever you get the chance there, Jeff. P, g'day. Good to see you. I'm not too sure who P is, but I probably know P. But good to see you, P. Amber, have we ever? I don't know who this Amber is. She's not that crazy lady who follows you around, is it, Ed?
Yeah, that's my beautiful wife.
She's a lovely lady. She's a very patient woman. We're pretty sure she's blind, but that's okay.
Yeah. Oh, I know she is. I keep telling her like she's got to go back and tell them that her glasses don't work because.
No, you don't want to do that. Yeah, that'll be the end.
Given that face wreck you're spouting there, Ed, I'd say she's got no sense of touch either.
Oh, yeah.
Chad Hall's here. Good to see you, mate. Wally, good to see you. Cryptic7, hello, mate. How are you? Of course, we know Manda's here. Never Again is here. Ricardo, good to see you, Ricardo. Raven, Jay Stalker's here. Raven, tell your husband to get in fast. So if I've missed anyone, I apologise. I've just kind of quickly gone through the list, but that's all. But who's laughing in the background? What's going on there?
Amber.
That's okay. If it's not your wife, it's my wife laughing. You hear that sort of. I guess that was more. See, Amber's got more of a laugh, whereas I think Lissy's got more of a cackle. So keep her cackling in the background, but. Maybe she's a witch or something. Who knows? But it's all fun. Yeah. So
is she not home, Chris?
She's asleep. She's in bed. She started work at 4:00 this morning.
Oh, poor Lissy.
Yeah. So she started work at 4:00 this morning. So at about 8:30, 9:00.
So you have to get your own drinks tonight.
Well, kind of. I'm on the water tonight. So, I'm boring.
I'm on the Pepsi.
Oh, you rebel. Yeah, it's,
we've gone from being six-pack where we drink and get drunk to none of us drink anymore. Apart from Jay.
Yeah, I know. And for him, it's like 6 a.m. So, I mean, we're really
and a beer.
Yeah, but...
usually Foster's because he's got no taste.
Tell me
6 a.m. is Jay's nighttime though, because of the shift he works.
Yeah.
Well, that's what he says. That's what he says. I mean, are we sure? I mean,
I think he works in the same bunker we live in.
Oh, that makes sense. He might be the one shooting the projection of the moon up into the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard, sort of being in the underground base on the flat Earth. But and speaking of flat Earth, actually. I had Bobby Mack around here only an hour ago, so it was good to catch up with him. I haven't seen him for ages. He popped around to say hi, and I was trying to get everyone to come on and say hi to him, but no one was around. And I said, just wait, we can have you as a special surprise guest. And then he got a phone call from his missus. He got yelled at, and he went home. And look, his missus puts up with a lot. I'm just going to say that his missus puts up with a lot of unusual theories. I mean, he's I'll put it this way: she's not a flat earther, but she often kind of rolls her eyes and says, "Oh, we're doing this again." So she's a good, patient woman. So it's all fun. So Ed, you tell us about the Formers. The Formers is kind of happening at the moment. So how did that come about? Give us a bit of an idea of what the Formers is and how it came about.
I got tired of just doing the same old. I didn't want to focus on atheism per se. So I kind of started looking at hate groups and racism. That started to beat me up mentally. It took a toll on me, a big toll. So I decided, you know what? I'm not just going to focus on this one thing. I'm going to focus on social justice issues, period. And I came up with this idea, the Formers. It's not
so when you say social justice, it's not like the social justice warrior kind of stuff.
No.
But I might get you to sort of clarify some of the stuff that
yeah. When I say social justice, I'm talking about human rights, period, for everybody. And the Formers is not just former extremists like myself. I do have some of those people that have already been on my channel, and I have more coming. But I also have people speaking about other issues. I had Ali Malik on my show just the other day, talking about blasphemy cases around the world and death penalties for blasphemy cases. So it is an atheist topic, but at the same time, it's a human rights topic because some of these people are being sent to prison and given the death penalty simply because they're Christian and not Muslim. Although I'm an atheist, that cannot continue. That is a human rights violation. Killing someone over their belief or non-belief, that's not okay. That's something that everyone in the world needs to address.
Speaking of sorry, excuse me. Speaking of blasphemy, actually, I was going to bring this up later, but since you've just mentioned it, it might be a good time to bring this up. We've actually just had some news that's come through today in the last sort of 12 hours. Very quickly, I'll bring in Jeff. Jeff, how are you, mate?
Speaking of blasphemy, here I am.
Speak of the devil, and he shall appear.
The blasphemy from Glastonbury.
So there was a case over in Nigeria where a 13-year-old boy was sent to jail for blasphemy. I think he'd sort of I kid you not, a 13-year-old child was sent to jail for blasphemy in Nigeria. Now, Nigeria is a bit of an interesting country where it's half Christian, half Muslim. Yeah. Now, the northern half of it is Islamic, and they do tend to have a lot of Sharia law, and then the southern half is Christian. And there's a lot of these places in Africa where there's sort of mishmashes of cultures because it was just where the Europeans drew the map, but it doesn't really represent what would be, it'd be like sort of putting Germany and France in together and saying they're all the same people, I guess, to give it a European perspective. But we have had the news come in, and I'll share the screen here because this is some tremendous news. He's out on appeal, and this is some work that Atheist Alliance International did. So a lot of props to Michael and the team at AAI. He was jailed, so in the Kano district, I know there was a lot of things going on behind the scenes, a lot of money that was raised. And keep in mind, this 13-year-old boy was handed a 10-year sentence.
Yeah,
a fucking 10-year sentence for blasphemy, for what was apparently an off the cuff, like a a holy shit level kind of comment. Like, how the fuck does this happen in the world? Like, what is wrong with these people?
Because the problem with anything isn't. It's the same with everything. Is it when you have a problem with an organization, it's because of its fundamentalism. The more fundamentalist something becomes, that's when you start having issues. So fundamentalist Muslims, fundamentalist Christians, fundamentalist Trump supporters. These are the problems we have because these people lose all sense of balance and reality.
But the impact, the head of Auschwitz, so the guy who looks after the Auschwitz Memorial, he actually sent a letter to like the court in Kano saying this is a child, a really nice letter, and basically saying I'm prepared to come and serve his sentence for him. Release the child. I'll come and serve his sentence. There was a bit of a thing where people were saying, I'll come and do part of his sentence. Like people were really getting involved. There was a big international sort of outcry about this. Probably not as big as there should have been, but it was big enough, and it's come through that. He's out today, but unfortunately, it's it won't be safe for him to remain in the state that he lives in. So he says here it won't be safe to remain in Kano, which is a state or a province.
I'm going to have to actually brush up on this because I have a humanist who's sort of new to the community coming onto my channel next week, and she's originally from Nigeria.
Okay.
So
my position on blasphemy is if your God's real and they're really pissed off about people saying shit about them, then maybe they should do something about it themselves.
Yeah, I mean, imagine being a deity and getting all, such and such said a naughty thing about me. Look.
You go and do something about them. You're meant to be all fucking powerful. You're just a wuss bag in a corner.
Sorry, Ed, you were going to say.
This is where my show, The Formers, comes in. Because Jen's right, about, the problem is these people being so fanatical and everything. There's also a problem that most of us, whether we realize it or not, we live in our own little bubbles. People here in the U.S. focus on the U.S. They forget there's an entire globe outside of the U.S. There are other countries. There are people suffering all around the world. And that's why I created The Formers, to get people from all over the world to talk about different issues that everyone should be aware of. Because if we don't stop problems like this around the world, eventually it's going to come back to our little part of the world.
Exactly. So I'm going to throw over to you for a second, Jen. If everyone can just bear with me I've just got to duck off the screen for just a minute. Bear with me. I'll be back.
He'll be back. Right, now he's not here.
Yeah.
Dopey
Russell Crowe.
Yeah. Hashtag Dopey Russell Crowe. Get it trending. The camera he's got right now looks a lot better, and he looks a lot more intelligent in that picture. Yeah.
He's got wireless headphones. He can hear all this.
Oh yeah, he can hear every word we're saying here.
So what?
Yeah, so what? It's not something that we wouldn't normally say anyway. Dearie.
It's two hashtags we got to get going. Hashtag Dopey Russell Crowe. Hashtag Ed is Daft.
Okay. Do you remember what it was that who it was SJ said she thought Chris looked like?
Oh no, I don't honestly.
Because it was a person I hadn't heard of, and I was going to ask Ed if he knew, but
I don't remember. But I caught what you said a minute ago, and I've got to agree that was a very good conversation. I had to sort of rewatch it because I missed the first sort of half hour of it live, so I rewatched it like this morning. But yeah, that was a good conversation.
It was. I think it covered the topic pretty well. And apart from the bits that Steve wanted to cover, which of course he's covering tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I did feel a bit sorry for Steve. He really wanted to get in and have.
He really did want to
I know he had that big list.
It was. I think it was just too big a conversation and too many people there, and I think the conversation just kind of it took legs on its own. It just kind of went in the direction.
And it covered what it needed to cover. I mean, Steve's points, whilst I think valid from Steve's point of view, wasn't necessarily what the conversation was about. And actually having something separate is probably a good thing.
Yeah, and I think that's what I was saying. I think that it needs to be another conversation. Incidentally, the people who wanted to refute what we had to say before the stream even started still wanting to do a stream, or are they decided that they need to refute it?
They may. I haven't had feedback yet and proper discussion with any of them.
Well, I mean, obviously, bring them on, Jen. Yes, they got, but
I don't know what there is to refute. The conversation didn't go down the road of abusing anyone, and it covered the point. There is it's a typical thing.
One or two arseholes.
People are wanting to argue with Steve about whatever he says before he's even said it because they just don't like Steve. And there's people who feel the same about me. So that's fine.
And SJ.
Yeah.
And to be perfectly honest, all I found, despite what you see about SJ on Twitter, and Twitter is a hard place to talk to people about, there was nothing but respect from SJ both before the stream, during the stream, and after.
She was lovely. She was absolutely lovely. Theologically and on a number of positions, we're going to disagree. But that's okay. I mean, look, if it's people have got to get out of their bubbles, and that's the problem. There's too many people who just want to live in their bubble, whether it's their little Twitter clan or this group or that group. You've got to have conversations with people outside of your norm. It's even if you're not going to agree with people. So if you can get to a point where you understand someone else's side and understand where they're coming from, well, that's only going to help people come together. It's only going to help conversations happen. And you know what? It's over time things can change. It's when I was a Christian, if people had approached me in the way that half of the atheists online want to attack Christians, I would have ignored it. It would have had absolutely zero impact. But have a conversation, have a reasonable conversation, and talk to people, and things change. It's what are they? The Westboro Baptist Church. One of the I think it's Megan Phelps who came out of it. How she came out of it was because on Twitter, where she had been arguing with people started having conversations with her and talking to her like she was a normal person. And all of a sudden it started to, I guess, the veil of fanaticism started to drop. I mean, this is someone who was indoctrinated in a heavy, heavy sect of the Westboro Baptist Church. They're fucking crazy.
Yeah,
like they're the Islamic terrorists.
I tell people all the time that was one of the biggest things that got me out of white supremacy is dialogue.
Yeah,
talking to people, just have a conversation.
And I should point something out about Megan Phelps Roper as well. I remember when she went on Joe Rogan's podcast a few years ago, and I mean, she clearly, in a lot of ways, she actively now does not believe. She does not believe it as God, but she very much stays away from the term atheist in the atheist community. And it did sort of strike me that she'd had some pretty bad experience. I mean, because he probably had a lot of people from that our side of the fence going at her when she was still indoctrinated by Westboro Baptist Church, and it's probably, do you think a voice like that we could really do with it in our community, but she sort of doesn't really want to be involved. She's a bit sad.
Why would she want to be involved when she probably spent years just being abused? But, the people who are complaining that the Westboro Baptist Church go around abusing and doing all these terrible things and then going and abusing her, why would she want to step from one abusive community into another abusive community? But fortunately, Twitter isn't representative of the greater Christian community. Christian. There we go. See, I've just reverted back 10 years. It isn't representative of the greater atheist or secular community. So, which is a fortunate fortunate.
I
sort of
think one of the things that we forget when we're interacting with some of these people is that they're people too, and most of them are actually fairly decent. And two, just because somebody has a different perspective on something to you doesn't necessarily make them wrong or a bitch or an asshole or however you want to put it. So before you're going to go and be reactionary because they've got a different perspective to you, stop and think about it for a second yourself. If ultimately it comes down to this person is being an ass like a Kent Hovind or a Pastor Locke, fine.
Hang on, that's Dr. Hovind. Dr. Hovind.
Fine. They're people who deserve what they get because they say horrible things and are somewhat detached from reality. But the SJs of the world aren't like that. Yeah, she said a few things that I would vehemently disagree with. And I think sometimes her arguments have been inconsistent. But she's not necessarily a bad person. Because
I think the thing with her that especially on live streams, she's very, very polite with people, and she is awful as it's sometimes some of the things I've sort of seen her say. I've been like, what? But I think she's someone you can have a conversation with.
You can have an open conversation with SJ.
Where somebody like Darth Dawkins, you can't. Really, you can't. You're not going to have it. You
can have conversations with Darth Dawkins.
Well, according to Darth,
I will prove it right now that you can have a reasonable conversation with Darth Dawkins. Ed, how's your day been, mate? Tell us what's happening.
You dopey Russell Crowe.
And remember, let's get that hashtag going. Hashtag Eddie's Darth and hashtag Dopey Russell.
well, that's yeah. By the way, but according to Darth, SJ is a horrible moderator as well. So,
because
I've never seen him moderate.
He lost.
She actually moderated the discussion with whoever it was. And I can't remember the stream, but he wasn't even the guest there. He was demanding to be let in for this conversation, and just came in and was a total ass. And SJ actually did what she said she was going to do, moderated him. Oh, you're a terrible moderator. You letting him over talk. You won't let me finish a set. You know, all that usual crap you get out of Darth.
When was that? I have to look that one up.
I'll send you the link after.
Yeah,
I'm loving Oz's hashtag there. Jesus is a myth. I'm with you on that one. I am absolutely with you. I love it when Christians say to me, "Oh, show me one historian who thinks that," and I go, "Hi." Me. But it's funny. So
I'm on the fence about
conversation.
I'm on the fence about mythicism.
I'm not fussed either way. I think the evidence points towards mythicism, but really it makes absolutely no difference to me.
Speaking of which, I've got someone tonight who you name dropped earlier on coming on my channel a bit later today. Tim O'Neill. Tim O'Neill's no. Tim, you mentioned Tim O'Neill earlier on Gen Stream. He's coming on my channel a bit later. So,
is he the one that they said looks like me, or?
No, I don't think so. No,
I can't remember who it was. SJ said looked like you because we were kind of looking up. I've totally forgotten who it was.
I looked it up at the time and I kind of went, "Oh yeah, maybe it's like a slightly chubbier version of me," but I don't know.
Tim's in your neck of the woods anyway. I think he's in your area.
Okay, that did. Oh, whatever you do, don't criticise him.
David Wood. David Wood.
Yeah, look, Tim's good on some history. He's good on a lot of what he does. I find he approaches things in a he tends to go on the attack and attack the person a little bit, which that's fine, whatever. History's full of historians who, historians in general argue with each other. We disagree on things, we have conversations. That's kind of like how history works, because I mean, realistically, we're just interpreting the evidence as best we can. But yeah, look, I kind of find that he's all right. But I brought up a few things, I think, in a post that I disagree. I said, a few things that are wrong, but all in all, not too bad. And I'll make a post about it. And he came back with some smart ass comment. And I thought, you know what? Your website is full of you giving it to people. Someone disagrees with you and you get butthurt. I'm thinking, okay. So, yeah, I've avoided having a conversation with you. Now, all right, everyone, I don't want to get you all excited, but something has just happened. Something really major has just happened. Everyone's gone quiet. You need to be more excited, people. You need to be more excited.
Well, it's anticipation.
What's happening, Chris? What's happening?
Do tell us.
Let me show you.
Is it Santa?
Better. Even better than Santa.
Sup, peoples? Hello? Can you hear me? Anybody hear me? Is it working? Is this thing on? Hello? Is this thing on?
That was good fun. That was good fun.
What's up, fucker?
Hey, what's happening, buddy?
What's going on?
Oh, not much. It was good. We played the same prank on Jen a little bit earlier, and because you weren't here, you missed the prank, so we got to do it twice in the one stream. So yeah. I'm actually a little bit excited that worked. How are you, mate? What's going on?
I'm all right. I'm a
have
little
you
warm.
got your job so you can show up to six pack on time yet, or what?
All right, listen. You don't know how bad I want to quit my job.
Do tell.
So we just think you get up early and drink personally, but
I don't know. It was a good night.
Good night. Excellent.
Yeah. It's kind of easy night, so
I guess continue on with the conversation we're having. It's this discussion, I think, if you'd call it that I'm having with the Christians who like to post the images instead of actual history. I have the ultimate there's a few favorites that the Christians will go to. So I'll read this word for word. So there's no way. So this is from something that someone posted, because it's always the whole, well, what's your denomination? Who are you? I say, I'm a former Christian leader. I'm, the very brief version, and here's where I am. So happy to have a conversation. And I got back. So there's no way you left Jesus to become an atheist, because he's the promised Messiah. You must have been disappointed in religion, and that's the biggest problem with people today. It's just like, it's just like it's either disappointed in religion, someone's done something to hurt you, secretly hate God,
or you were never a true Christian.
Oh yeah, I have.
That's my favorite one.
Because they asked me, they said, what denomination were you in? And I'm like, okay, well, whichever one I put in, they're just going to say, well, that's not real. So I said, well, over the years, depending on where I lived, I was with a few, including some non-denominational. Because how can you go after non-denominational? They have no idea. So that kind of shuts them up every time. If they ever want to do that whole no true Scotsman's fallacy, just say that there's some non-denominational in there as well. And really, how can they argue against that? I mean,
it's always the thing. You never really accepted Jesus into your heart. You never truly believed. You never. And it's like that's true.
Look, everyone knows that the only true church is the Second Presbyterian Church of Bumfuck, Idaho, because that's the one that they happen to go to, and their pastor's right on everything. So that's the one. That's the only one that's got it right. out of everything. So yeah,
and unless you ask the Third Baptist Church of Okay,
sorry. I've just got told by a sleeping Melissa that I'm too loud.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, shut the fuck up, Chris.
Fine, be like that. I don't like you all anyway. But so it's and look, don't worry about the downvote button. That's just Darth Dawkins coming to say hi and letting us know that he's okay. If we don't get a downvote from Darth, then we worry.
It hasn't been a good night.
Incidentally, there's 23 people watching. I've only got 9 thumbs up and 1 thumbs down. I mean,
10
thumbs up. Okay, well, give me a little bit more positive. It's and write things in the comment and keep the algorithm going. Otherwise, everyone YouTube will just think this is boring content and work out that I might have
to be perfectly honest. If Darth or any of the other haters who come on and go, "Oh, you can't have those people on," or you're a prick to me, or whatever else, want to come in and bring all their cronies in and downvote all our videos, do it. It's great for the algorithm.
It's brilliant. It's engagement. Like, come on. Incidentally, Darth Dawkins does have a channel now too. It's just, him.
What?
It's just him posting clips of his Discord channel.
Oh. Well,
I
still,
thought you
though,
were going to say grumpy old dude for 1 second then.
Yeah, I did. Darth Dawkins.
Yeah.
It's all right. It'll get
Hey,
old
he's the one
eventually.
who's got that show called The Formers.
Yes.
What?
Hey, so tell us who you've got coming. Actually, what I want to know is who you've got coming up on the Formers.
Saturday at 2 p.m., I am going to have 3 guests from the group Beyond Barriers. Jeff Scoop, Acacia Dietz, and Red. They are all working together at Beyond Barriers, and I will have them coming on the show for a discussion on the Formers. All 4 of us are former extremists. Jeff, Acacia, and Red. I do believe the 3 of them were members of the National Socialist Movement. I'm not exactly sure about Red. I haven't met him yet. And of course, damn it.
I'm just going to point out that's Ed's wife.
Yes, it is. That's my beautiful queen. So we're gonna be talking about some stuff. Hopefully trying to get people to understand that not everybody out there is a white supremacist, and if we keep saying they are, they're going to keep gaining in numbers.
It diminishes the term because, I mean, it's like the little boy who cried wolf. If people are out there now, everyone who disagrees with my version of politics must be they're a horrible racist white supremacist. What it actually does is when people call out the actual white supremacists, people just roll their eyes and go, okay, yep, it's just little boy crying.
Roll the eyes.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because I don't think things like that should be diminished. I mean, bullshit like that, especially in this modern era, it needs to be called out. Like we don't need that crap in modern society, and we need to stand it up. We need to bring it to light.
Here's the problem. I can't tell you the kid's name. He's 17 years old. Mm-hmm. I was talking with this young man. If ever, hopefully people will remember this. There was a video put out on YouTube by a channel called Cut, and it was a horrendous video. They asked 100 black people, what are white people superior at? And this entire video was just ad hominem attacks against white people.
Oh.
One of the kids that saw that video was 17 years old. He made a comment saying, why shouldn't I go join one of these groups? You know, the way they act. So I reached out to him and I was having some back and forth with him and trying to, stop this kid from making a bad decision. And then, of course, everything happened with, the big orange stain on America and the Capitol building and everything else. And people started, white supremacists, you're all racist. Well, guess what? This kid just went and joined a white supremacy group because you pushed him into it. You caused that. Every one of you social justice warriors out there made that happen. Own it.
And that's the thing. It's if you keep telling people that they're different and they need to be separated by what divides them, what's going to bring them together? Now, you radicalize people. It's like they say that, for years people have said, well, every time that, Western nations go into the Middle East and, it's they bomb villages and things like that. Well, that was a really bad time to laugh.
Sorry.
But
I heard what Dono had said.
Just for those who are listening, not watching, there was something funny in the chat just as I said that. So what happens is when the villages get bombed, it radicalizes those people. And that's what's happening here. You're dividing people, you radicalize, you tell people that they're different, you tell people that they've got a disadvantage, or you tell people that they're overprivileged because of some factor that's completely out of their control. And guess what? It creates. Well, what we need to do is we need to actually realize that the only reason there's differences in skin pigmentation is one, climate, and B, agriculture. 6,000 years ago, the native inhabitants of England were black. And what actually changed the skin pigmentation over time was a combination of the cooler climate and also agriculture changing the diet and the way that they lived. You know, they became more susceptible to diseases, and apparently that lightened the skin, plus also a little bit of intermingling with some Neanderthal ladies, I think, that kind of, you know, it's... Yeah, I think we've got us Europeans have got a little bit of Neanderthal in us, so it's some more so than others, But yeah, that's realistically. I mean, we're separated. Like most of humanity is separated by about 30 or 40,000 years over a 300,000 year history. I don't get it.
The whole Batman thing.
Oh, okay. Spelled my name wrong. Spelled my surname wrong, but that's okay. I've actually got an uncle called Bruce, and it's just like, why is there? But yes, no, I am Batman.
Bruce Lee, Bruce Atlee.
Yeah. And so I get really upset when I see this Mr. Batman mentioned. I haven't. Who is Mr. Batman? I know he's some Christian apologist, but what's his go? Like, is he like a Darth Dawkins or something? Or
I have never heard of the guy.
I've never heard of it.
He's like the new. I don't know. I'm hearing a lot about him. I know Ethan did a video where him and Darth Dawkins were mentioned in the same breath, you know. But yeah, Jeff, you're all over this stuff. Who's Mr. Batman?
I heard the name.
Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. I've heard the name. I've heard the name. I've heard the name. I'm trying to picture where it's from. Where he's from. What he's about again, but I have heard the name. So yeah, I don't know. I'm sure we'll run into him at some point. It's Oz.
According to Pastor Mike, Mr. Batman is Oz.
That makes sense. But mind you, I mean, can we really trust Pastor Mike? Because I've heard Pastor Mike's actually Kent Hovind. So, you know, has anyone ever seen Hovind and Pastor Mike in the same place? I don't think so.
I was just saying.
Ed and Darth, you know, you never seen them at the same time.
I'll just say Oz has just said Mr. Batman is basically a poor man's Darth.
Oh man.
Wow.
That's that if you're a poor man's Darth, that is that's pretty bad. That's okay. How do you live with that?
Hey, listen, while we're on this subject, did I see you mention something on Twitter about having a script ready for me?
Shh. That was in a private chat.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think you got to make Ed big for that one.
Yeah, no, that's something that we're working on behind the scenes. It's
okay.
That'll all be revealed on a future six pack. So we'll just Anyway, everyone, just forget what Ed said. You heard nothing. You will forget what you just heard. Okay, so dude, you're a Sith. It doesn't work.
I was actually going to say if Mr. Batman's a poor man's Darth, is he like Darth's apprentice under the rule of two?
Maybe he's like Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
sorry, no. Jeff does an absolutely brilliant Jar Jar.
I'm not going to do it in case Amanda's still listening again. And she will kill me if I do it. So
what?
This is a politics and Jar Jar free zone.
Yeah.
But that's all.
Doesn't change the fact you do a really good one, Jeff.
Yeah. I don't do it, but Chris does a decent one actually.
Yeah, Chris does a decent one too.
I do, but I'm not going to do that. I'm keeping my voice sort of nice and warm for Sexy Bible, which incidentally, if anyone has missed, we've had the first Sexy Bible come out. I've had a few people get in touch and who are recording some Sexy Bible for us. Mm-hmm. So if anyone wants to, if anyone thinks they've got a sexy voice and wants to read some Bible verses, well, there's some Bible verses to be read.
We'll have to do some creepypasta Bible as well at some point.
Oh, there's creepy Bible. There's definitely creepy Bible. So
there's definitely creepy Bible.
Mr. Batman used to be Christian hillbilly. He's a very poor man's Darth. Check out his debate with Jim Majors. Okay, cool. All right.
I guarantee that probably didn't end well for him. I doubt that.
We've
I doubt
lost
that
the
ended.
Chris again. Jay, you're in charge.
Uh-oh. All right. Well, I'm in charge, so I'm going to do this.
I think I heard one of the little ones in the background.
And I'm going to do that.
You know, you can rename people too.
And do this. I have the power.
Yeah.
Oh,
You can also rename people.
I can too.
Yeah.
Come on, put in Dopey Russell Crowe for him really quick.
Oh, yes, how long it takes you to notice. Oh, no, you can hear us.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that does kind of piss me off is I don't know how many times I've tried to set up debates with different people, and I haven't gotten a single one to take me on yet, except for Jay. We had to, postpone that, but Jay and I did agree to a debate. Now, I've called out white supremacists, asking them to debate. They want to go back and forth on Twitter and everything, but when it actually comes down to it, and they get in touch with Creaky and Conspiracy Cats on agree to disagree, they don't want to do it. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, no, you're just setting us up. No, dude, it's an actual debate channel. That's what they're there for. They don't take a side.
No, I think they if like you had a white supremacist come on there and then spout some like really bad anti-Semitic stuff or some really bad racist kind of stuff, yeah, they would probably shut it down on the spot. But I'm sure they'd have a conversation with them before they come in. The second you start doing this, we're gonna have rules about this. If
to answer, aren't you? We've got about another hour to go. About that.
Yeah. As soon as they hear that, this is an actual debate and they realize that I know what I'm talking about and I can debunk them, they don't want any parts of it. It's like, listen, dude, if your beliefs and, are so freaking provable, why do you keep backing out? It's ridiculous. And it's not just them either. I've had freaking polytheists that I'm like, look, I'll debate you on your beliefs. They don't want any parts of it.
Incidentally, there's 2 L's in Russell.
I know.
See, I walk away. See, I had a bit of a crisis. We just had a 4-year-old who had a bad dream, so we've got to address these things pretty quickly. So
you cocksucker.
Is the 4-year-old okay?
4-year-old's fine. The 4-year-old's fine. She has recovered, and all is good in the world.
Cool.
So no
had
need
a
to
strong
stress.
recovery there.
Yeah, everyone can stop panicking. She's had a sip of water. She's decided that probably she would prefer to go back to sleep, and we are all good. So if I
Jay,
have that off stream, you know why.
We need to stop focusing on fappy old dude and let everybody know that I do have a Patreon again.
This is very true. Very true. Now, have we got the link there? I believe I do have the link. So what I am going to do is I'm going to put it in to the chat once I get it up. So for those who are listening and aren't watching, it is patreon.com/grumpy old dude. So a very easy one to remember. For those, you know what, go chuck $1 on. We're going to have we are working on a 6-pack Patreon. We've got a few things that are sort of in the works at the moment. So that'll be coming too for anyone who wants to support and keep this wonderful thing going. And Oz versus Grumpy, that'd be fun. Jesus is a myth. Right. Did I miss something? You pro Jesus, are you now, Grumpy?
No.
Yeah, but do you think Jesus was a myth?
No, he was a mister.
I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about that. Like, I want to think that, he could have been an actual person. I think the stuff that he claimed was a myth. I don't.
He didn't claim.
I don't think he was the actual Son of God. He wasn't, sent to Earth to save everyone, and he did claim that. That is a claim.
No. Other people claim that he said that.
Mm.
There's actually no writings of Jesus.
Yeah,
exactly. So I'm inclined to believe that he could have been.
And he also never claimed himself to be the Son of God. He said, "That's what you say I am."
Well, it depends which gospel you're reading.
Yeah, it does.
I was going to say it kind of depends on which story you take.
Matthew, Mark, and Luke, which are basically the same story. Matthew and Luke are basically just fixing the errors in Mark.
Fixing
and the only reason,
errors.
yeah. And even though Matthew and Luke contradict each other, the problem is when the Council of Nicaea came around, because they were both so wildly popular, they couldn't have one and not the other without causing a massive schism. So they kind of went, we'll put them both in. No one's going to read this thing. No one will notice like the completely different lineages or anything like that. But look, this is what I would say to you, and I really just want to show you some evidence for the truth of the Bible, and I've got the absolute killer evidence here. You know what? Checkmate, atheist. Checkmate. That's it. That's it.
Contemporaries to Jesus.
So this is what I've been dealing with today. This is when I brought up that there's no actual evidence for a historical Jesus. Not to say he didn't exist, but there's actually no contemporary accounts. There's nothing. So this is what I get. So and why not? Let's have a look at it. So they go for apostolic contemporaries, the eyewitnesses to Jesus, the apostles in the Bible. Now this is the thing: we don't actually know who wrote the Gospels. They're traditionally attributed to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. We're pretty sure that Luke, who was a disciple of Paul, probably wrote Luke, but once again, he wasn't an eyewitness. Now, the earliest Gospel, being Mark, was written around about 30 to 35 years after Jesus would have died, and has like geographical errors in it. It's not. There's a lot of things that don't fit. There's a lot of things that. Yeah, there's a lot of things that indicate that it wasn't written by someone who was in the Hebrew culture. It was probably written by someone who was Greek but familiar with, so it was probably a Gentile author. And then Matthew and Luke kind of fix a few of the errors, but then but none of them are contemporary. It's even they say that the disciple John wrote the book of John. The problem is that was written 100 years after Jesus had died, which would mean that if John was, let's say John was 15 when Jesus died and started hanging out with him when he was, we'll call him the 12-year-old disciple. That would mean he's writing it at the age of 115, which, I mean, look, if you make it to 115 now, you're doing pretty well. But I don't know too many 100-year-olds that are penning works of literature. Let alone back in a time where the average lifespan was about 35. If you were lucky and didn't end up, being killed in war. So there's that. So they've got this discipleship contemporaries, eyewitnesses to the apostles. Polycarp was born 35 years after Jesus would have died. So once again, not a contemporary. Absolutely not a contemporary. The Roman history contemporaries. Josephus wrote his account, and it's actually, we know that Josephus is a forgery. So it basically says that, there were Christians. That's what Josephus said. There were Christians. Okay, there were Christians.
I need to stop you just real quick, Chris. On Otangelo, back and forths are fine. Please refrain from those type of comments that you just made to Andrew, please.
Yeah. This is an insult free. See, I don't get you sometimes Otangelo, because you're a really nice guy. Like when we have a conversation on a stream when you came off Christmas, you're a nice guy. When I've heard you on other streams, you're a nice guy, but you get on the keyboard and you kind of go a bit crazy. But we're going to keep it respectful in here. Funnily enough, this conversation started on one of Otangelo's comments, so it's kind of appropriate he's here.
I do want to address something too on this little picture that you put up here. It says Jesus wrote no poetry, but Dante, Milton, and scores of world's greatest poets were inspired by him. He composed no music, but still Haydn, Handel, Beethoven, Bach, Mendelssohn reached their highest perfection in the melody. The hymns, symphonies, oratories that composed of his praise. Every sphere of human greatness has been enriched by this humble carpenter of Nazareth. You can say the same thing about Hercules. You can say the same thing about King Arthur. You can say the same thing about Spider-Man, Batman, Star Wars.
I don't know why they think that's a good argument.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
It's not a good argument.
Yeah, it is an awful argument. It's I really don't get why they think. Oh,
it's like that argument of look how many languages the Bible's translated into. It's got to be real.
Yeah.
Since when is that an argument? Lord of the Rings has probably been translated into more.
Music's subjective as well. And I mean, okay, so hymns were written back in the day, okay, but I mean, when was the last time any of us sat down and listened to Haydn, Handel, Beethoven, or Bach?
It's been a while since I've listened to. I tend towards Tchaikovsky if I'm going to listen to classical, but it's been a while.
I like Wagner. I like Wagner, The Rise of the Valkyrie.
Raven says you can say the same thing.
Damn it, Ken.
Yeah, Raven said you can say the same thing about Hitler too.
Damn it, she beat me to it. I was going to say that.
It's like, I mean, take an example of like the old novel Phantom of the Opera, right? It's a random example, right? It spawned a musical, a film, sung by Iron Maiden, just to name a few. Now, does that mean that there was an actual Phantom of the Opera? No,
No. Well, that's it. But even I guess having a look at like the Jewish contemporaries, once again they go to Josephus, and the Talmud does it. The Talmud's got a number of people called Yeshua in it. I mean, Yeshua is like a common. It's like saying Fred. There was someone called Joseph. Therefore, the Mormons must be right. It was a common name. And then they go to the archaeology. So the ossuary of James. The guy who has the ossuary of James, he spent years defending a forgery case, and all it is, it just says, James, son of Joseph, brother of Jesus. So what? Even if it wasn't a forgery, it means nothing.
And Tangelo, you are aware the Shroud of Turin is a proven fake.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Shroud of Turin is no. Even the Catholic Church now
admits it's a fake. Yeah.
The Shroud of Turin's been dated to the Middle Ages. That's absolutely fake. Yeah. So Pompeii had nothing to do with Christianity. That was a Roman city that was destroyed when Mount Vesuvius exploded. It basically kind of preserved the whole thing. But we know that Roman cities existed. I mean, Rome is still there. We know the Romans existed. But I mean, it's once again going back to, we've got evidence for New York doesn't mean Spider-Man's real. And then Roman graffiti once again. Yeah, but nothing that actually mentions Jesus. This isn't to say that Jesus didn't exist, but there's zero evidence of it. And if he was such a great person, and all these things happen, like the blackening of the sun, the dead rising, history would have recorded it somewhere.
But how is Pompeii evidence of that? It just seems like such a non sequitur. It just does not follow.
No, but the thing is, and this is what they do, and it's bad history. And look, even when I was a Christian, if I had have seen this, I would have been going, "Don't use this. This is bad history. It's wrong." And there is actually better arguments. I could make better arguments for the existence of Jesus than this garbage that's here. Honestly,
I've seen better arguments.
Yeah. So, but that's the thing, and what I've been dealing with is all this kind of stuff that's just getting shared, and I'm just kind of like, I'll bring up a point and say, okay, well, here's whatever it is. And this just gets popped up. I was like, or they'll cut and paste from someone's website. I'm just like, you're not actually understanding anything. You're just copying other people's work and stuff that has zero academic backing. I mean, like this, there is not a single academic source or even a single source on here. I mean, just writing Josephus, Tacitus, Pliny the Younger, it's, this is just so. This isn't for non-believers. This is to give to the people who are hard indoctrinated into very evangelical Christianity. Because, like I said, when you have a look at this guy's website, it's all about how America's got this. America seems to be the key to the apocalypse and all that. And look, America, I know you guys think you're important, but you're not that important. I mean, you're a cool country and all, but it's if the apocalypse is going to happen somewhere, it ain't America. But so I'm guessing I'm missing. Is there still some Shroud of Turin stuff?
There's still the Shroud of Turin stuff.
Yeah,
inciting the conversion of a Jewish guy who photographed it as being evidence that it was true.
The Shroud of Turin, I can probably find academic sources that'll confirm it, like where they've actually they've tested it and they've dated it to the Middle Ages. It's not even 1,000 years old. I mean, it's
not only that, the there were seeds actually found within it, and they come from an area that doesn't fit the thing, but that particular seed hadn't evolved to the genetic footprint it had until many years after Jesus, and it couldn't have been put there at the time it was placed where it was. So
yeah, and it's just like when Jesus appears in toast. I mean, it's just the way things burn to look like a face sometimes. It's if you look at the clouds, you can pretty much see anything too. I mean,
I'd just like to point out untangibly, just because somebody might not be able to explain how something happens doesn't mean you can insert your own make-believe stuff in that place. And I'm not saying people can't explain how it was made. I'm pretty sure it has been explained. I actually don't care. As soon as they dated it to being a lot too young to be anything to do with a supposed Jesus, that's it. It's gone.
All right, I got one to show you something here, Otangelo.
It's not blood on it, Tangelo.
So this is from the Independent. This was July 16, 2018. The verdict of the Catholic Bishop Pierre d'Arcis, who has written to tell the Pope it is clearly a sleight of hand by someone falsely declaring that it was an actual shroud in which Jesus was enfolded in the tomb to attract a multitude so that the money might cunningly be wrung from them.
There we go.
So that is from the Catholic Church. The Shroud of Turin is fake. All you have to do is Google it, and you will find numerous examples just like this.
Right. By the way, there is I think I'm trying to find the Journal of Forensic Sciences. It's
for goodness sake, untangibly. If it did have blood on it, there would be no way for looking at the blood you could tell it was from a butcher's hand.
But there was two. Right. There was a forensic anthropologist and a chemistry professor that used a live volunteer and a mannequin to study how blood from this thing would have flowed onto the burial shaft using both human and synthetic blood. They were unable to find a single position from which the blood flowed onto the cloths to create the stain. So it does look like, that there's some questions about how this is made by the look of it, but it's not necessarily that you can't go from there to miracle or something as a conclusion from that. It's
this isn't atheists saying you're wrong. Christians say you're wrong about this. The shroud is a fake.
Oh no! Hey, this is an atheist saying the shroud's a fake. I will tell you right now.
It's just atheists.
We even got a Buddhist who's saying it's fake. I mean, everyone. A Christian says it's fake.
Hold on. Actually, I've just read on a bit further here. So if you look at bloodstains as a whole, just as you would when working at a crime scene, you realise that they contradict each other. Barini, who is a professor at Liverpool and Johns Moore University in England, told that points to the artificial origin of these stains. So, what we can see of the scientific community seems to be very much against you there, Tangelo. So.
Okay.
And if it's real, why didn't it appear until 600 years ago?
I mean, even if we could, even if we could date it to the actual time period as well, it's still an absolute leap then to say that it was the burial shroud of Jesus Christ. It is a huge leap to go to, even if you can date it to the actual time period.
And here we go. We have a Christian saying it's fake.
Regardless of all that, like Chris said earlier, go help me out on Patreon. I'm going to be doing some live streams and grumpy rants and stuff on there. And if I make enough money someday, I'm going to go get me a waffle iron or, something like that, where I can have my image, the image of God, put on toast and waffles and pancakes.
All right.
One
last thing.
We could make a shrouded Turin on just saying, Jay, you up for volunteering?
Yeah, I'll do it. I just want to say one thing. This is the last comment, and we need to move on. Montangelo says, but even more remarkable than that, the wide presence of creatine particles bound to ferrohydrate part. That's the wrong one. Sorry, hang on just 1 second. Okay. The blood stain show can only be seen with UV light. Why would an artist back then ever put blood there, which would be not visible and providing no advantage at all? They used to write invisibly, use a lemon to write and hide things. So you can't use that argument because it's they used to hide things all the time. So that argument doesn't work.
Yeah, and look, you can kind of throw anything out there. Realistically, it's a fake.
It's a fake.
There is so many better arguments for the. I mean, hell, the Spear of Destiny was a better argument, and that's a known fake as well.
Which Spear of Destiny?
Yeah, which Spear of Destiny?
Yeah, exactly. But there's so much better. I'm someone who doesn't believe in the existence of Jesus, but I've studied all aspects of this, and there are such better arguments. I encourage you, please go and just look at it.
By the way, Angelo, your so-called scientist, Mr. Schwartz, was the photographer. He was not a scientist on the original.
He wasn't.
So I'm going to say something here. I have no issue with people who want to believe in something. I am, for one, you want to be a Christian, that's fine.
Yeah.
If you're going to come in like Darth does, like the Otangelo does, and start spouting stuff off, you need to do your research, because I can guarantee you 9 times out of the 10, the chats and the things that you're coming into know more about the subject than you do. Things like the Shrouded Turin, or was Jesus really a person? People like Chris, like Jen, like Jeff, like myself, like Ed.
I don't know nothing. What are you about?
You know about this, Jeff.
we have looked into and we have studied this stuff. I guarantee you a lot more than you have, just for the simple fact that we don't believe. And a lot of us come from, or not a lot of us, because I didn't, but a lot of atheists came from religion and studied this kind of thing. Chris used to be was going to be a pastor. He went to,
I was studying a Bachelor of Theology and a Bachelor of Ministry.
Yeah.
Jeff, man.
Ed was headed down that direction too.
For Christ's sake, like, if you're going to come in and try and argue science or philosophy with me, because I don't know anything about them, don't come and argue history with me. I mean,
So,
look, I'm sort of not bad on history, okay, but I wouldn't argue it with Chris. I know I'm going to get my ass handed to me.
Just you need to come with better arguments.
Yeah, one thing a lot of people don't remember about me. Well, Angelo might not even know.
I'm just going to address this. No.
Sorry, Barry is not an expert. He's not a scientist. He's just somebody who's converted from Judaism to Christianity because he saw a pretty sheet.
I'm going to say this, and then I'm just going to drop, because I think it's Angelo.
We're going to have
it's a pointless conversation. It's Angelo. I'm going to assume you don't have any academic qualifications whatsoever in history. So don't come at me telling me that you know more about areas of history that I actively study, especially when I've also studied theology and ministry as well. Just don't have that arrogance about you. Accept that there's going to be things where you could be wrong. Accept that there's things where you might be right, but you might not know as much. The stuff that you're putting in the chat is wrong. It is absolutely wrong. It has been disproven. And all you're doing
time and time again
have an open mind to look at the evidence, which makes it really, really hard to be able to engage honestly with you. Because if your view is just like the blinkers are on, I'm right, we can't have the conversation. Now, I know at the same time I'm sitting here going, the Shroud of Turin is a forgery, and I've maybe got my blinkers on, but this is something I've researched. It's something I've studied. I didn't want to walk away from Christianity. For me, Christianity was a very nice lifestyle. I had a lot of friends. I was in leadership. It was a really, really comfortable, nice life. There was no advantage for me to walk away. But it's things like the Shroud of Turin, other forgeries that are prevalent throughout Christianity and history that let me look
oh, that's an accusation.
That is projection.
Hang on,
Sorry,
Jeff.
that is projection.
Hold on. Listen.
Go ahead.
On
On
Tangelo, try and understand this. I graduated from Amherst Theological Seminary. I was going to be a Catholic priest. I am ordained. I do not take my position on blind faith. I take my position on the studies that I've done and realize that there is no evidence for the Abrahamic religions. None of them.
And there is nothing in science that points to the existence of any God. At all, Atangelo. At all.
Now, I'm going to have my little bit of fun here right now, okay? Because we want to talk about blind faith. What is more realistic? Let's think about this, and let's all put our thinking caps on, and actually use the brains that evolved. Yeah, there I said it. What's more likely, that of all the gods and the millions that have ever existed, the one group that happened to get it right was the Bronze Age Palestinians who were coming out of captivity in Babylon? Is it more likely that they were right, or it's just that because of where they were geographically at a certain time, their religion was able to catch on in a certain area that happened to, I guess, Europe kind of went the way it did? Or is it more likely that it's just not the case, that there is no magical man in the sky who created all these things, a perfect God where his Bible isn't like it's contradictory, it's full of complete historical inaccuracies and lineages that don't even make sense. I mean, let's look at this really simply. The different lineage in Matthew and different lineage in Luke. If it's a perfect creator, a perfect God, and a perfect book, he couldn't even get the fucking lineage right. So no, you know what? It is bullshit. And if I respect that people have their faith. I used to have faith myself, but it is wrong. There is no God. Okay? There is no God. It is as simple as that.
And I'll address his next point where he tries to say, why is there something from nothing?
No, he says, why is there something rather than nothing?
Rather than nothing. Here's the thing. If there was nothing, none of us would be here. There'd be nothing, no one to observe the universe. There would just be nothing. Regardless of how the universe came about, which the best answer we can give is we don't know, because we don't know what caused the Big Bang, or even if there needed to be a cause. Likely there was never needed to be a cause, but we don't know is the honest answer. I don't know is not the same as saying God done it. That's entirely different.
No, I don't know. It's the God of the Bronze Age Palestinians.
Hold on.
Not an evidence for a God.
I want to address that comment from Gary Priestley that you just had up on the screen. I'm the only God here. Mind your manners.
But here's the thing. Going off of what Jen said.
Angelo fallacy.
going off of what Jen said, the universe doesn't need a creator. Doesn't need it to exist. Just because, like she said, we don't know how it started, doesn't mean God. There are things that happen day to day that happens for who the hell knows why. That doesn't mean a God did it. It just means at this point we don't know.
Well, and
we're constantly trying to figure out why. And we
got us on that one.
I'm telling Angelo, a eternal universe makes an awful lot more sense than a God.
Yeah, and frustrated atheist, your hair might grow, but mine isn't. So check.
Yeah, exactly. So the universe doesn't need a God. It doesn't need a God.
The universe doesn't need a beginning either. Even though there is an age for our part of the universe itself doesn't need a beginning. The Big Bang only dates our visible universe. That is all it does.
I'm going to answer a question real quick that Chris just posed. You know, who created God? Well, see, back in the 70s, my mom and dad hooked up, and some stuff happened.
I bet it was a wild night.
Science does not disprove an eternal universe. Plain and simple. It goes to
for those who are not here watching and listening on Spotify, we're responding to some comments in the chat.
Okay. Yeah. We can only look back and figure out to a certain point in time. We don't know what happened before that time. For all we know, the universe could have been what it is now and collapsed in upon itself and then exploded back again. We don't know. But we're okay to say we don't know. We don't need to have.
Oh my God! Sorry.
And I like that he's written that science disproves an eternal universe. He's happy to use science for disproving an eternal universe, apparently. But science also proves evolution, so can't have it both ways.
Science doesn't disprove an eternal universe anyway. That's a lie. He fails to understand it.
And before you use the second law of thermodynamics, just don't.
Yeah.
I don't think you understand the second law of thermodynamics, Angelo.
Yeah, Christians and flat earthers do not understand it. Don't use it unless you absolutely know what it is.
By the way, don't know what it means. You're attributing to Dawkins wasn't Dawkins.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's the same stuff that keeps getting thrown out. I mean, do you think we haven't heard this all a million times? If it was some massive revelation, we'd be Christians right now. It would really suit me really, really well to go back to Christianity, because a former Christian leader who became an atheist went back to Christianity, man, I'd be laughing. I mean, I can see the book tours already.
There are plenty of models of the universe that don't include a beginning for it. You just don't know science, Angelo, at all. And you're frustrating the hell out of me. I'm going to go and tell you to suck Amanda's cock in a minute.
I like what I said. Whatever Angelo is drinking, someone cut him off. Anyway, I think we're going to move on from.
Yeah, we need to move on from.
Yeah, I'm done.
I think we need to. It's this isn't.
I mean, we're arguing against a brick wall here, and it's not worth it. It might be entertaining for the chat, but
hey, look, it's good for the algorithm. I'll say that. So post away because it's great for the algorithm. But look, we've all heard all these arguments a million times. You know,
now he's talking about penetrating. I mean, the guy's got problems.
Okay, I'll leave that to Jen. That's kind of your department. Dear, isn't it fun? It's never dull. It's never ever dull.
Oh, for goodness sake. No, I'm not actually. He's talking about genetics, and he's wrong. But I'm not a geneticist, so I can't speak from any form of knowledge.
Angelo's been timed out for 5 minutes. We just
thank you. I'm sick of it.
Yeah, we don't need to have all the usual cut and paste. And it's all cut and paste because
That's not what
no
this
one
show's
types
about.
that.
Not what
Yeah,
this
no one's
show's
got
about
that, yeah.
anyway.
Actually, in Atangelo's defense, I was going after some of the stuff that was posted by Christians on a thread on
Well,
Facebook.
that's true. This one was about weird things that
So
Christians say.
I won't knock him on that. But,
Which is why we did actually go down the route of answering him tonight on it. But it's
and something that I was said here. I mean, Atangelo is a nice guy. When he came in for our Christmas stream, he's a nice guy to have a conversation with. But the problem is, put him in front of a keyboard, and he turns into he's a keyboard warrior, which is a shame because I really think someone with Atangelo's, I think his temperament when you're having a conversation with him, I think he could actually do a lot of good for. I think he could change the perception for a lot of people in the atheist community about who and what Christians are and show that there's. But he just destroys it all with the stuff he.
The tired old apologetics.
He's coming here of what would be. Yeah, I mean he's in Brazil, so it's got to be. I'm assuming he's probably on the same time zone as the Eastern United States at the best. So I mean, he's coming in at what is it, 6 o'clock in the morning to argue on a stream where we're all just kind of here hanging out having some fun.
If he's East Coast, it'd be 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that's even worse.
There you go.
But I mean, in all honesty, if you're going to come in and you want to argue science, try to argue science to prove your religion, then at least actually understand some science. And don't just come in here and spout your ignorance, because there's enough of us here who've studied and learned science, that various forms of science. I mean, genetics isn't mine, but if you're going to talk about the beginnings of the universe, then I'm going to call you out on it, because I've probably learned more stuff about it than I've forgotten more stuff about it than you've ever learned.
and if you're going to throw out history and you're talking to me, make sure you know your shit. Like, really, especially when it comes to
and like I said earlier, Jen will back me up on this. There's some people. I was on your Stump Jen show last week. I got a few history questions. How many of them did I get wrong?
None.
Yeah, and I'm not going to take Chris on. Okay. So
listen,
I'm a bit of a buff, but I'm not a trained historian.
No.
Now I want to make this perfect.
And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. Incidentally, it's like not everyone's an academic. It just happens that in this case, this particular topic,
your volume's a little low, by the way, Jay.
Is it?
Yeah.
How about now? Is that better?
That's better.
Oh no, I can hear you.
Oh, damn it. But what I wanted to say is look, we don't have a problem with people who believe in religion. I prove that every single week. I am the only one here that is religious. So we can have conversations. We can discuss religion and religious topics with people. But don't come with the same tired old arguments that have been debunked over and over and over again. If you want to come talk about your personal experiences, that's fine. We can talk about personal experiences. You want to talk about your journey? We can do that too. But you try coming in and saying, well, this proves this or this proves that, when it's been shown that is wrong, we're only going to deal with it for so long, and then you're going to get timed out or booted.
Yeah.
You're not coming with anything new. Every argument you've ever had has been spoken, has been crushed, and been kicked to the curb.
And don't try and use science to prove your religion, because you can't. There is no way to prove religion.
That's the thing I was saying. They bring science into it when it suits their argument, but when it comes to something like evolution, the age of the universe, I know, not going to look at that science. It's it's picking and choosing, and a lot of the time it's science that's either been debunked, because science is ever evolving. Science is always changing, and what might have been
religion
community once. Oh no, religion evolves, not always for the best. But look, it's something actually never again put in here actually, and I'll agree with this. Even a trained historian admits that they don't No, at all. And I can tell you, history, and especially history academia, is just full of people who argue with each other. There's people who disagree with each other. It's all about how we interpret the history.
Richard Feynman said of quantum mechanics, if you think you know it, then you don't.
Is that a science joke?
No, he actually quoted it because it's almost impossible to understand quantum mechanics for most people. Even the people who have studied it for years and years and years, understanding the intricacies of it is just incredibly complicated. So if anybody gets up and claims that they understand quantum mechanics, they don't.
So you're telling me that the flat earthers don't really understand it?
Often read.
They sound like they know what they're talking about.
I love it when they try to.
Listen to the quote, though. If you think you know it, you don't. That's where I get my quote. Thinking comes from not knowing.
Yeah.
Now, I like what's been put in the chat here from Frustrated Atheist. Question for the panel. If God is not real, have you all ever heard of this foolproof argument for God about watches?
Checkmate. I think he's got us.
Well, hang on.
Damn it.
Watches have a maker, and they're not as complex as humans. Oh, no, we must have a maker. Oh.
One of the dumbest arguments.
Yeah, we're all going to have to become Hindus now.
It's the who
definitely Ganesha.
It goes into that thing though.
Chris, I'm sorry, you're going to have to become our Hindu pastor. We've got no choice.
Become the Hindu pastor again.
It goes to the whole who created the creator, though, isn't it?
It's creators all the way down, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're going to feel that the universe can't be eternal, but your God can be, surely you should be able to.
That's okay if you're a Mormon, because the Mormons believe that God was once a man who lived on a planet, and he just attained a higher, and there was a God before him, and there's all these planets and space stations with gods.
But it still turtles all the way down.
Yeah, but it's just like, look, I don't understand how things work. I'd like to think that it's almost like the Earth's round, and you can start at one point, walk east, and if you walk east for long enough, you'll come back to the same point. And maybe that's how the universe works. I don't know. I don't think any of us in our lifetime will ever know. And maybe humanity as a species will never know. I mean, humanity's been here for 300,000 years, and we've been a little bit smart for about 10,000 of those years.
Not even that, really.
I'm probably giving us a little bit too much credit. But
a little bit smart from about the time we developed fire. Then I'll go with that, because that's something that no other species has done as far as we know.
Well, that's about 300,000 years ago.
Was it? So you could say we started developing bigger brains at that point.
Yeah. Well, what happened was it's because we actually started cooking food.
That's what happened. Our brains grow bigger.
Yeah,
cooking meat, especially.
But there's actually there's evidence
out there. Meat helps us get big brains. If you become vegetarians, we'll eventually evolve to having little tiny brains and extra stomachs.
or if you eat too much sushi.
Hey.
No,
I love sushi.
I'll devolve for sushi. That's no problem. I remember hearing, and I haven't got the source for this, so if I'm wrong, I apologize. But there's actually evidence that some of the chimpanzees, in particular, have actually started demonstrating almost farming traits. They're starting to take their next step. We're seeing early signs of that, which is really interesting. And I don't have the study for that.
Let's hope we don't fuck that up and have them and end up killing them all off.
I don't think we will, just because of where they are.
Because it'd be nice to have another hominid around. Another hominid species.
We killed all the other ones.
Yeah, we killed all the other ones off before, didn't we?
Well, we've already
bred them out of existence.
We've already seen where the other great apes are using tools.
Yeah,
so there's a huge step in the mental evolution right there.
Well, actually, that was just the start of 2001: A Space Oddity.
Oh
yeah. Any of you seen those TED talks that Frans de Waal did a few years ago with some of the footage of cooperation and that between primates and sort of how they can, how they can sometimes have how they these animals can cooperate, and even has a sort of a basic understanding of fairness. I mean, there's the classic one with the capuchin monkey when they get unequal reward for performing the same task, and then one monkey will get a bit of cucumber, and they'll eat the cucumber, but the other one will get a grape. The monkeys love the grapes. So when they started introducing a little bit of inequality, like unfair pay structure in a sense there, the one that was getting the cucumber suddenly was like, hey, he's getting a grape, and started like it was hilarious, and throwing the cucumber back. And he actually said he tried the same thing with chimpanzees, and then what happened there was even weirder, that the other chimpanzee who was getting the better reward started refusing to do the task until the other ape got the same reward. So it's quite amazing, really.
Oh yeah. Well, there's been an interesting question that's been asked by Gary in the chat. He asked, have any chimps shown any signs of theism? I can confirm that they've actually all converted to Mormonism. Some Mormon missionaries were on a trip in Africa. They went and they met the chimps, and they all sat down and spoke about Joseph Smith. Now, the chimps, as a result, will not be drinking any coffee from now on. They're also having family home evening at least once a week. So,
did they teach them the missionary position?
Not yet, but they have given them the magical underwear.
Now, to branch off that, actually, if any of the great apes are going to go to theism, the closest one would probably be the bonobo. They're the ones that are closest to the human interactions.
Yeah.
So bonobos of any of the great apes are probably the ones that would create show signs of theism for anything else.
I think chimps are our closest relative.
No, bonobos are.
One of the chimpanzee species shows signs of mourning their dead, and they will do things like gather flowers and put them over the dead body and stuff like that. So there is signs of that. Now that's a crude step towards religion, looking at what happens after death. So,
to what Chris was saying, chimps are closer to us genetically. Bonobos are closer to us mentally.
Yeah. Wow. It's sexually.
Yeah.
I know that the bonobos are they're a little bit devious. The old bonobos, they're a bit randy. They're well known for that. So it's that would make sense.
Of all the great apes, though, the ones that show the most compassion are the orangutans. They show more compassion towards other races and towards their own kind than any other animal other than the elephant. The elephant.
So the orangutans are in because they're the only ape that evolved outside of Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Elephants mourn their dead as well.
Elephants mourn the dead of a human.
I was going to say, I found an article from about 4 years ago. And okay, this is like just a mainstream newspaper article, so you got to be a little bit careful when it's anything to do with science and just media in general, because they're not always good at. But there was some footage of chimpanzees engaging in behavior, which is speculated could form some sort of a ritual that might show the beginnings of a sort of religious belief. Has seen chimpanzees in West Africa been spotted banging and throwing rocks against trees and then throwing them to gaps inside, leading to piles of those rocks. It doesn't appear to form any functional purpose, and might be an example of early version of ritual behavior. I mean, there's a big might about that. I've got to say,
if they have to get the rocks between gaps, they might have developed sport, which is still a ritualistic behavior, but still,
it's not an atheist program.
But
we're going to fling poo at theists, are we?
To go off of what I was saying about the elephants, there was there was a caretaker that used to take care of a whole group of elephants, and these elephants traveled. It was something like 100 miles when he died, just to come mourn their caretaker. And there was like 17 of them. It was a huge pack of elephants that came to mourn the dead. So animals not just apes, but other animals will show compassion. Look at your dogs. Your dogs have compassion. That doesn't mean that they're just animals. There's other things there, and that's a lot of problems. A lot of people don't understand that humans are animals. We're just more evolved.
Yeah.
And there are other animals that have traits that humans have, but they refuse to acknowledge them.
Now, there are animals like this one here who demand worship.
Yeah.
Everyone knows cats are the devil. evil species. But here's an article from BBC Earth that says that chimpanzees and monkeys have entered the Stone Age, which I think it's fascinating. It's this, and this is from 2015 in West Africa. Actually, they're saying even in Brazil and Thailand. So it's like it's I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, they're developing tools. They've watched other things, like especially breaking open nuts. They'll find the perfect rock to bust the nuts in the fruits open to get to the inside. They'll use sticks to dunk into termite mounds and pull the sticks out so they can get to the termites. It's not any different than what we did at our beginning.
And stone tools are amazingly. When I did archaeology, it was part of my undergrad. I did archaeology, and we made stone tools, which was one of the coolest things I've ever gotten to do. But it was insanely easy. You literally get the rocks, and you get a heavy rock, bang it off at a certain angle, and you get a sharp edge. So, Gary, it is you.
Oh, there's a question right there. Do animals fight wars? Yes, absolutely, 100%. Chimps will attack other packs of chimps all the time.
And that Planet of the Apes, I mean, they were pretty fierce in that too.
And they're very Christian about it. They all the male chimps get killed and the females get taken. And
I think there's a number of species that will fight. There's a number of species that will fight in groups over territory or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they will.
That's just
even lions will do that.
It makes me worry if they are developing signs of religion, how they're going to wipe each other out in a very short time of belief systems. Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it's the universe just knows that we're about to wipe ourselves out. And it's just like, well, if there's some great divine being going, the humans are killing themselves. We don't need to send another flood. The monkeys will sort the chimps. The chimps have got this.
Sort them out.
Here's one for you. Do you guys know who one of the worst female serial killers were? It was a mother-daughter team. They were chimpanzees.
Wow.
They estimated that the mother and daughter killed almost 100 chimps for fun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of
signs of psychopathy within chimps.
Bobby's in the chat.
Bobby's here. Bobby.
Sorry.
Where's Bobby? Yeah. There's Bobby. Bobby.
So Bobby said, "Hi, everyone. Just popped in before bed and wanted to say maybe it's not evolution as such with their behavior and feelings, but it's them copying us from watching us for so long." The areas that they're in, it's unlikely, I think, because it is in fairly remote areas, and what they're doing is they're showing Stone Age sort of trends, which is not really what we do, but possibly monkey see, monkey do, I guess, is a thing. So so it's now Bobby was over here earlier. He came to say hi and visit me, and he was very disappointed that when I sent a message out, hey, if you guys are ready early, someone wants to say hi. He was gutted. He was gutted that no one wanted to come and show him the love. So let's all give Bobby the love. Let's all send him a big virtual hug. Bobby Mack, we love you.
Love you,
Bobby. We love you.
Yeah. Incidentally, Bobby Mack, you should meet Atangelo. You two would have some great conversations. Get him, Bobby. Get him. But here's what I love. Atangelo got timed out. He's back. He's straight back at it. Like, seriously.
No, Angelo, no, moved away from what you were talking about.
Away from it. We said we were moving away from it.
If you want to talk about chimpanzees using tools, this is the place for you. Maybe it's evidence that, like I was just saying, maybe it's evidence that God is sick of humans and the chimps shall rule the world. So could be fun. Could be fun. Anyway, I'm just going to ignore it, Tangelo. In the chat, if people want to have the conversations, they can have the conversations. But good luck.
We just got accused of bias, Chris.
Bias.
Oh yeah, that's their go-to.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. No worries.
Kettle.
Jen, you're echoing.
I said something about projection earlier.
Is it me?
Well, actually, you know what? We're all biased. We all have an opinion. Like, we all have a point of view, and that's fine. We all have our biases, but you can't just come in here and go, "Oh, this is the channel's called Atheist Pastor." I mean, what did you expect, that you're going to come in here, do a cut and paste, and we're all going to go, "Oh, we hadn't thought of that."
Yeah.
Tangelo, can you lead us in prayer? We're all going to get saved live here on the Atheist Channel. I mean, come on. Why should a Christian become an atheist? Never heard a good reason. I can give you a lot, because I was a Christian who became an atheist.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, it's so funny. Look, all you can do is laugh, because it's the same drivel. It's just the same drivel. Anyway, I'm ignoring it. If he keeps going on, I'll just time him out again. So, you know what? He's talking about the shroud again. Check this shit out. Tangelo, just like I do with my naughty children, you are back in timeout.
Yeah.
We said we moved on. Yeah. Oh, hang on. So if we've both timed him out for 300 seconds, does that mean he's got 600 seconds?
I'm not sure.
Does he serve concurrent? Is it consecutive sentences, or how does that work? If we're still
I'll say there was Well, I say that on Gensing last night there was someone that was, I think 3 of us timed out at one time, and I didn't see him in the chat again. So,
oh yeah, I hit that guy as well. He was a douche. The one who was having a go at SJ. Yeah, he was a dope. But and once again, I'm just going to say that was such a cool conversation. I would gladly have that conversation with that panel. I mean, I enjoy this and talking to everyone here, but today was such a diverse group. But we all got along. Yeah, actually, it's, and with no disrespect to Ed and Jeff, I think Jay would have been good in that.
Oh, Jay wanted to be.
I wanted to be there, but I had to work.
Well, I actually did say to Jen that I didn't think I'd be enough of a counterpoint to anything in that conversation. I didn't know what I would be able to bring to that conversation. So, but I think Sam, I think, brought an awful lot.
Oh, Sam was brilliant.
Sam was fantastic.
I got a lot of respect for Sam.
I haven't got a chance.
As an 18-year-old, Sam is wise beyond on their years. Sam is
18. Yeah, he's young.
Credit to Sam, and 18 is pretty impressive. Look, I disagree, and look, I disagree. I wholeheartedly disagree with polytheism. I disagree with all religion. I mean, I disagree with Buddhism. Sorry, Jay. I
don't have an issue.
Why I'm the atheist pastor. But yeah, look, there was some stuff I disagreed with. I thought I was worried it was going to be a bit of a pile-on onto the atheist community, and I didn't think that was fair. I thought that it was, like any community, there's good, there's bad. There's people who get elevated in a hierarchical structure. There's people who don't know how to deal with celebrity. To put it bluntly, you get some people who, out of obscurity, have all of a sudden got people really following them, and that kind of stuff will go to your head.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to name drop anyone, but I do think there's people who got maybe started on YouTube, got very, very big followings very, very quickly, and it went right to their heads. And then I'm not suggesting for a moment that suddenly my channel blew up to 500,000 subscribers or something, in the next couple of months that I wouldn't get a bit of a big head about it. You know,
if it was me, I'd have people here feeding me grapes and shit like
yeah.
that. I'd go all crazy. But that being said, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. If I get to 500,000, you can watch me getting fed grapes.
I bet you we could probably get Lizzie to do it before then.
Maybe. I think that if I asked her right now, if
Probably
I woke her
not.
up, she'd probably slap me. So you'd probably get slapped live on a stream, which that could be entertaining too.
It would definitely be entertaining.
Yeah,
and
I say,
probably deserved.
Let's do this. If you hit $1,000, let's see if she'll feed you grapes at $1,000.
See, there's one problem. I don't like grapes.
Oh,
no, that's even better.
Well, the liquefied fermented version you're not opposed to, though, are you?
I'm prepared to do liquefied and fermented grapes in a suitable glass. I'd be prepared to do that. Okay, so if I get to 1,000, and look, I am trying to push for 1,000. 1,000 is a magical number. There's a lot more we can do. There's a much better reach we can get. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. If you like what we do here, tell people about it. Just ask them, just say, hey, come and subscribe to this really cool channel that's got this really weird guy on it and all these cool people that come and join him. And
subscribe to all of us, because there's lots of varied content between all our channels.
Yeah, and you know how much it costs to subscribe? Ed, do you know how much it costs to subscribe?
Zero.
You click a button.
this much.
Which of your Patreons? The God one or Darth Dawkins one?
Do what? I can't hear you.
Sorry. This. I don't know. We said we'd move on from a tangent, but this is funny. You terrible atheist moderators are muting me. That's the devil's plan, not God's.
Oh, jeez. Now you're just trolling.
Oh no,
Yeah.
this is. Well, you know what? If God's all powerful, he'll make sure that you're muted. Anyway, you've been timed out again.
Yeah, it's. I'm sure. I'm sure God really wants you to have your say on this. He's gonna take you out of timeout right now.
If there was a God, he's probably sitting there going, "Tangela, you're doing more damage than good. Just shut up, man. We've got this. Just I'll do something divine. Just shut up, mate." It's it's.
I'll send my boy back tomorrow. Just knock it off.
Yeah, it's just like, haven't I been through enough for you people? And you're giving bad apologetics.
Didn't we do this episode last week?
We did.
Yeah.
I know we spoke about the sins we like, but we didn't actually sin.
Look, we owned up to the sins we've done. At least I did.
I'm not prepared to burn toast on a string.
I pretty much have sloth covered. So.
Oh, stop it!
In gloves.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, wow. God gave him the power to have multiple accounts. Well, and I gave
that's quite funny, actually.
The power to time out. That actually was.
I've actually got to say that is quite funny. That I'll give you that one attention. Like that was quite funny.
So God is now Google.
Well, actually, if God, gave him the power for that, does that mean that Critical Cripple, who just timed him out, is the devil?
But Critical Cripple is more powerful than the God.
Oh, hang on. Have we been worshipping the wrong God all this time?
Well,
Dave, your God.
I mean,
he's the floating head.
Floating head in space for all we know. So
he's a floating head. Yeah, I mean, maybe we better get the floating head in here and have a talk to him, because he's obviously the one true God.
Yeah, on the fourth day of creation, we all know that he bursted the ball. He destroyed the globe.
Yeah,
we're saying that he's
and now the globe is flat.
He's either, we're just saying there's one. I just say there's one or two possibilities. Either he is the disembodied head of God, or he is Holly Computer from Red Dwarf. We can't be sure which.
Yeah, we're not sure which.
So every time I have a look at his streams and I just see the head floating there, it just reminds me of the Doctor Who, where it's coming through it's doing the whoosh, all that, and all of a sudden the head pops through. It's just like that's what it reminds me, and then the British accent just absolutely.
Dave, you need to get a TARDIS going behind you every so often in your background.
The Big Bang. Well done.
He'll make it happen. He'll make it happen. Well, this. I'm going to say this has been actually a rather fun stream, considering what I had originally planned didn't pan out, and it's just kind of been, let's just chat and see what happens. I mean, we probably spent a bit too much time, talking with Otangelo before we eventually got sick of him. But
having said that, it did fit in with what you were talking about. You are right.
It did. So I mean,
it proves why a lot of these arguments are just ridiculous. There is nothing wrong with you believing something because that's what you believe. But if you're going to try and argue for that, at least make your argument coherent and not denying of the actual science or history.
And give us something original.
Oh, please!
Give us. We hear the same arguments all the time, every time.
Because there are no more original arguments. There aren't any.
This is why, to be honest, I don't watch a lot of Christian versus theist debates anymore, because I feel like I feel like you kind of hear the same stuff to a point where is this really worth watching anymore?
If you've seen one, you've seen them all, sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I can't abide watching a Kent Hovind debate anymore, because you've seen one, you've seen them all. You can
hang on. That's Dr. Hovind, please, Dr. Hovind. Well, you know what? We might wrap it up. I think we're about to hit the 2-hour mark, so I think that's been pretty good. Now next week, funnily enough, is the theme for the show is crazy apologetics. So it'll probably be a bit of a continuation of this. I'm hoping that there'll be, look, to all you Christians out there, throw all those great Christian lines at me this week. Hit me with everything. Seriously, hit me with everything. Try and save my soul, because I need
with your best shot.
Yep, it's just hit me with everything. Tomorrow night, I'm on Atheist Alliance International. We're discussing the 10 Commandments, which should be fun. I'll post a link. Come along and join in. It is an interactive show. It's, AAI. I know some people have got issues with people from AAI, but the organisation itself does a lot of good work. And I think, the example of the young man in the Kano province in Nigeria who AAI, actively, got legal representation for and fought to ensure that he was released from prison. Incidentally, this young fellow, he was a Muslim. He wasn't an atheist. He was a Muslim. So there is good work that happens. So look, come along and support it. Don't let personalities get in the way. Give it a go. Even if it's just to come and abuse me if you want. Like come and troll me. Otangelo, come and troll that one. That because we're talking 10 Commandments. That's probably a good one for you to come and have a chat.
Well, I did my best last week. I was putting dopey Russell Crowe in the chat.
That was good. That was good, and it was good that you came along actually, because there was a little bit of I felt bad for poor Johnny. He was there on his own, and I sent him something going, "Hey, send me the link and I'll promote it on Twitter." He sent me back, "We're live now," and it's like, hang on, it was meant to be 10:30 my time. He got his times confused. I was like, okay, well, we can work it out, but we got there eventually, and I had to kind of wake myself up because I sort of thought I'll have a bit of a snooze before, and make sure I'm nice and fresh and all that kind of stuff. Gary, I do apologize. Sorry, you are my troll. You are my favorite troll. Otangelo, he's our Christian troll. You're my favorite troll. I can promise you. No one will ever replace you, Gary.
Darth's been relegated to third now.
Yeah, I don't even know if Darth's a troll. I think Darth's just a dickhead, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like that's the reality of it. It's
Is he talking to you or Darth Vader?
I don't think he's talking to Ed, because Gary's kind of got the Ed look happening. You know, the goatee, the nice.
Well, we
clean
know.
head.
Well, it
We
could
could
be Ed. 'Cause we
definitely-
all know Ed can't grow a fucking beard. So
Yeah, whatever.
We definitely know it's not me and Jen. So
Sitting over there looking like a frumpy Andy Cap.
I can see that, Jeff. Yours is long enough.
Right, DVD.
I used to have a full beard, but I
That would have been an interesting look. I'm too used to you not having one.
So,
Oh my god, Jay
so
is
you-
using.
Oh
makeup.
wow, you look like a gnome.
I do think though with that hat on though, Jay, because you can't see like your long locks so well, you've kind of got the Brian Blessed look going on there. So I just need you to say, "Gordon's alive."
Oh, that is Brian Blessed, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I've never watched the movie. I love the soundtrack, but I've never watched the movie.
He's brilliant. He is absolutely brilliant.
through the
Oh yeah, he is.
He's just playing himself pretty
Do you
much.
remember him in Blake 7?
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
First series of Blackadder as well.
Oh yeah.
Gary says it right. Jay's a legend.
So we Sexy Bible should be out on Monday or Tuesday, depending on when I get the recording back, which will be a lot of fun. Next week's six pack is Crazy Apologetics. The week after is when our Wednesday or Thursday, depending on what part of the world you're in, six pack starts. So it'll be Wednesday night for those in America. It's kind of about lunchtime for me on a Thursday in Australia, so it suits me really well. So I'm working on the lineup, who's going to be on that one. We'll probably have a few more guests on that one because we can get more guests onto that one. But we're starting.
We know who those 3 downvotes are properly from as well.
Oh, Tangelo, and Daft Talk.
Yeah.
So that's sort of what I've got coming up. If you want to see Jay, come here because this is where Jay comes.
I'm gonna try to get some videos out this weekend.
Ooh,
Okay.
promises.
But we'll try.
Promises. I like it. Ed's told us all about his new stuff, but if you haven't checked out his channel, check out his channel.
Sorry, so someone highlight Gary's comment there about myself and Jen there. So I think he's onto something here.
Yeah, look, it's
Yeah. I'm not going to argue.
No, I'm not arguing either.
We can't argue. Jeff is a damn good looking man. I mean, I don't swing that way, but if I was going to, I tell you what, Jeff, you'd be in trouble if there wasn't.
You can't have Jeff.
Jeff.
He's apparently mine and Will's third, so you can't have him.
Oh, apparently they're concubine now.
You're their bottom bitch.
Yeah.
Oh,
Angelo, seriously, is that a third will count?
That's the fourth.
Oh, that's the fourth one.
Wow, this is.
Well,
Well,
he's not being.
You know what? He's been tied down again. That's funny. That's funny. He's been tied down again. It's like I'm going to give Tangelo one thing. He's persistent, but I worry about people like and genuinely, I'll say this: I worry about people like Tangelo because he seems to spend every waking hour arguing with people online on social media. Like, there's got to be better things to be doing. Like, don't let this.
We didn't have an argument. We had a good discussion, and there were people from all walks of life in that discussion. You can do it on Angela. You can do it. You can have those.
Go and check out Jen's channel and the discussion from today, because that will give you an idea of how to engage. Like, if you want to have conversations, if you want to convert non-believers to Christianity, even though I know you've said that that's not what you're trying to do, but clearly it's what you're trying to do, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's like that might help you engage better, and maybe you'll get a convert or two. If that's what you're trying to do, and your treasure in heaven, all that kind of stuff. Good luck to you. But anyway, has anyone got anything they particularly want to shill that's coming up?
I've got a couple.
I'm gonna own that bald bastard later on next week.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Okay.
Fight is on.
next Wednesday night my time, Wednesday morning. Thursday night my time, Thursday morning for those of you in the US, about Thursday lunchtime if you're in the UK, we have the great debate happening. It's going to be the first of many debates that are going to appear, Ed versus Jay. And they'll be arguing on whether the death penalty should be allowed in modern Western society.
Now, before you say anything, who do you think, the chat, who do you think is for and who do you think is against?
I'm not saying anything because I already know the answer to this.
Yeah, I already know the answer.
As do I. But it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I want to
tell us.
I want to see what the chat thinks. Who's for the death penalty and who's against it?
Actually, Tangela, if you're using all your accounts, can you subscribe to me a few more times? That'll help.
Come subscribe to everybody a few times.
Yeah. I mean, if we all get 5 new subs, that's not a bad thing.
No, to get me over 700.
Almost finished. It's okay.
Let's see. So far we got. We got.
Well, we were
wrapping up Jay is 4.
For me, I've got there'll of course be another What the Fuck show next. Thursday night for the US and Friday morning for Australia, and there'll be a Stump Gen tomorrow. Evening for me, morning for the US, and midday for the UK.
I love it. Every time a Tangelo jumps on with a brand new account, there's 5 accounts he's used now. And Dave, Critical Cripple in the chat, he's on it. He's just like
whack-a-mole. He's playing whack-a-mole. I know you're playing whack-a-mole there. So
it's actually quite funny.
All right. So the chat. Okay. So the chat says Critical Cripple says Ed's against and Jay is for. Doorknob Head said Ed is for because he's a badass. Vista Freya said Ed is against.
Oh, for goodness sake, another one.
Oh, damn.
You're persistent.
Okay. It's kind of funny, but
your original account probably not in timeout anymore.
He's unsubscribing every time. Okay. Oh no! Whatever will I do without the extra subscribers? I've actually gone up subs, so it's not working. Obviously, your God's against you. God's for me.
So just so everybody knows, so you can kind of figure out what the hell's going on this debate, Ed is against the death penalty. I am for the death penalty.
Yeah. Creepy, isn't it?
Ooh. So think about that one. A Buddhist for the death penalty.
And a badass against it.
Well, really, I mean, no one knows more about serial killers than you, Jay. So I reckon, having looked at serial killers, you probably don't want these people around.
I used to play chess with the Iceman.
Yeah. Oh, Klinsky.
Yep.
Yeah, I just read a book. I just read that book about him, the Iceman, actually a couple of months ago.
Did you let him win?
No. If I actually purposely tried to throw the game, he'd get pissed. So yeah, no.
So Dave asked a question because I want to know this answer too. Is there anything interesting happening on Steve's channel later?
There is.
Yeah. Yeah, the continuation of the discussion. I don't think I'll make it for that one. I'm going to try to, but it's sort of like, it might be. I don't think I can make that one. But,
yes, so there's a follow-up to it where Steve actually wants to go through some points he made. He made a list for us to look at, and I think we only covered one because our conversation went in a different direction. But Steve still wants to cover his point, so he's doing a show to cover that, and he's asking any of us who are on that panel and probably some other people on to talk about that. So that should be interesting, but that'll actually be on Steve's channel.
On that note,
I've got a couple of things.
Go for it.
Well, I think I mentioned earlier, later today, I should have Tim O'Neill, runs the site History for Atheists, on for a chat. That's at 7 p.m. UK time, so he's very kindly getting up very early in the morning for me because he's on your funny time zone. So
he's an Aussie, isn't he?
Yeah. I think he's your end of the country as well. So but so he's getting up very early, which thanks very much to him for that. Usual things like doing the asterisk things with Noodle on Sundays, but Tuesday I've got some new creator in the community, the African Humanist, coming on. She's originally from Nigeria, but then come to the UK and gone from like religion to atheism. So but she talks a lot about, especially with what we were talking about earlier, with Nigeria. It could be, I think she could have some very valuable insights.
Is she a former Christian or Muslim?
She's a former Christian.
Okay. Oh, that'd be interesting. Definitely.
Oh, cool.
Cool. Well, look, everyone, if you haven't already, go and subscribe to everyone's channel. If you haven't subscribed to this, hit the subscribe. If you're listening to it on Spotify, I don't know, I think it's the follow button or any of the other places it goes out on.
And definitely go watch our stream from earlier. It was
absolutely
so worth it. And it only goes for just over an hour.
Yeah. But it's a good hour. Yeah.
It is a good hour.
I was going to bring this up, but I forgot earlier. There was a person in the chat that went by P, asked if we'd be willing to talk to anybody that's religious that's not a Christian. Absolutely. Yes. I said, I'm a Buddhist. I told him I'm a Buddhist. I'm on every week. So if you want to talk to us, get a hold of Chris and we can make that happen.
To be honest, I'm sick of talking to Christians. It's just because of the society.
Bring us a Muslim. As long as you're not radical, I'm happy to talk to you.
Yeah, we'll have the conversation.
And if you have $1 to spare, please go check out my Patreon, Grumpy Old Dude.
I got one too.
You've got a grumpy old dude.
Yeah, I got a grumpy old dude too.
We all have a grumpy old dude in life.
Go to my Teespring and buy some shit, like the shirt that Ed's wearing.
Yeah, very cool. An original design.
Yep. You can get mugs, you can get T-shirts, you can get leggings, you can get socks. For the people that are into socks,
No socks, please.
You can hang on. Where's it at? I gotta find it. You can get clothing with where did it go?
What I want to know is, can you get your grumpy old dude underwear though? He disconnected. That was actually, he genuinely disconnected there.
I did it again. You can get this beautiful picture on shirts. You can get it on leggings.
What? Now, what does he say about using his likeness?
He's pissed because he doesn't get paid for it.
Like I said, I just want the if I can get the grumpy old dude underwear, I'm pretty happy.
Raven, that needs to happen. we need to put some grumpy old dude underwear in Teespring if we can. It's like, God damn it, I'm not getting cut grumpy old dude
underwear. I can just see it. So I'll be getting a little bit romantic with Melissa. I'll put my pants off, and there's going to be Ed's head.
Across the back, it says "Fappy old dude."
But if you're going to do it right, you have the back of Ed's head.
Now the thing is, I'll be disappointed either way, because if she turns around and says, no, it's not happening now, I'll be disappointed for obvious reasons. If she goes, yeah, no, I'm still into it, I'll just be kind of like,
or
no more extremes for Lizzie.
Like you get those fancy elephant ones where the guys can put their bit in the trunk, but you do it so it's like a tongue hanging out of Ed's mouth.
Incidentally, I'm happy to say I was the first Patreon for I got your email. I'll think about it. I'll be honest, it's that you haven't really inspired me to want to have a conversation with you the way you've been carrying on in here. Maybe come back next time with a bit more respect. and we can talk. But I'm not saying no, but we'll see. Anyway, on that note, I think we'll call it a night.
Night.
Be
Thank
safe,
you.
everybody.
Wherever you are, whatever time it is, have a good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are on this beautiful flat earth that we all occupy. Catch you all later and have a fun one.